All right, I'm looking at another Fibble. This is the game that's just like Wordle, but on every row, one of the clues is a lie. They're starting us with COMET, which is interesting. Is there something we can do with OCT octal? Yeah, that'll work. Okay. Well, I didn't get any contradictions, which is interesting. Could we have OCT somewhere else? Not necessarily all together. We could do T, OC, like talk stock. Stock would work, yeah. Okay. Well, again, no contradictions, which is wild. It's getting unlikely that there's going to be an O. If there is an O, then we have the C here and the T at the beginning. So if there's an O, then it has to be this, and then we have to, and the new letters otherwise, and an O, of course. But is there something like this? The problem is after the C, we can't do a K, and so I don't know. I don't know. How are we gonna put at the end? Maybe a Y? T something CY? Or an I? Yeah, I don't like that. Okay, so I'm thinking no O. Now, if the T and the C's are all true, then we need, if there's T at the beginning and C here, but there's no O, then we have to have an S or a K, which we could put a K at the end. We have to have an A or an L and an M or an E. So you'd have to do like TEACK or I don't think that's going to work. Now, could we do S, T, and C? No, we can't. We can't do the S. If you do the T as the lie, then you wouldn't have to have an S or a K. But then you get in the problem of what comes after the C. We could do an H maybe? Actually, wait. We had T and O and C. I didn't think about H. Touch. Touch will work. Okay. Well, one of the C's is a lie for sure. So there's definitely a T. We could have the T and the C, but then the problem becomes what do you put after the C? Like before. And in fact, you have to have an H. It would have to be this probably. But then you'd have to have a K. But now we need an A or an L and an E or an M, and there's not enough room for that. So I don't think the green C can be true, because if it is, this is a lie, and then it's not going to be HC. It would have to be THC. You'd have to have an S or a K, an A or an L, and an E or an M. And there's not enough letters left, so we can't do the green C. That has to be the lie, which means these are true. Okay, so there's no O, which is what I was already thinking. But is there a C at all? If there's a C at all, we get into the same problem where this is the lie. TH, the C, you'd have to have a T and H and a C. The only way that can be true, yeah, it's not going to work, because the only way this could work if there is a C, because there's not enough THC plus an AL plus an EM does work just the number of letters wise, but you can't do the H at the end, so you can't do like teach. You also can't do the C fourth. It's just, I don't think it's gonna work. I don't think we can have a C. I think there's gonna be no C, and I think all of these are true. Okay, so we could still do TH. Then we'd have to have a U. Something like thumb, but we can't do the M, or thump, but again, we can't do the M. Thunk, but we can't do the K. What is this gonna be? And the U wouldn't have to be there. It could be like RU. The U could be there. Thra. Something else, U. Because, something like thrum would work, but again, you can't do the M. So I don't think it works to do the TH. At least not at the beginning. And at this point, the T is first or fourth. And if you do the T fourth, then you can't do the H at the end. It's also possible that the H is the line. We just have the T in new letters. That could be. T-R-I. We can't do trick. Trips. We can't do the S. Wow, why can I not think of this word? Tribe, but we can't do the E. We could also do T-I. And then something with a Y? Tippy? Is that a thing? All right. Well, I don't know. That didn't really help. Can we do something like that? I don't think so. I like this, but tizzy, a tizzy. Okay. Well, one of the T's is a lie. So the I's. Oh, and one of the Y's is a lie. So the rest of these are true. So there's a T or a Y, but not both. Well, we know there is a T. We know there is a T. So that's the lie. This is true. That's the lie. This is true. True. Okay, so it's T. There's an I somewhere. We do. I mean, I don't see how you can do the U. So you can't do the H. So T and I. T-R, T-W? It's got to be T-R or T-W, I feel like. And there's no Y. We could have another T. It would have to be fourth. But then what would come at the end? Oh, actually, you know what you could do? You could do an H at the end. But I don't know if that helps. It wouldn't have to be TH. You could do GH. Thigh. Thigh. Oh, the H in both places. Oh, man. Ah. Oh. All right. Well, that was a tricky one. That yellow H that I knew was the lie was throwing me off, because then I thought, well, that means I can't put the H after the T. But I can if there's another H at the end. Ah. All right. Well, it took 6 guesses and a little bit of thinking, but not too bad. We got there in the end. So let me know how your solve went today. And of course, be sure to subscribe for more.